Good morning and welcome. We're going to be on in a few minutes. If you're tuning into this not live, then check back for the last 15 to 10 minutes because we usually go over the stocks that we do cover on this channel before we end the live stream. So go look at that last 15 minutes and I'll be with you guys in just a few. Good morning, guys. How we doing? Today I am on nature baby duty. Did not get much sleep last night, so I'm in control, so you might see me pop away a couple times if she wakes something like that, but let's hope she sleeps very soundly so we can watch these daily ranges. Speaking of daily ranges, how do you guys like the look of today's daily range for the Qs? Look at that, the support. And get where you need it, right above this level. Nvda in the post market above 800. We were talking about that, above 800. It's like the daily range for this 808.90. I really think we could still see more positivity. Maybe something like 80.30. I'm going to look at a 15, just see if any kind of divergence leads to anything early in the morning. But we could get, multiple pops out of this. So I'm really just going to really focus on this MACD most of the day. But good morning. Who's got some trade plays going? AMD, I thought would get some more strength here. It has not. That's surprising. Seems everyone's just flowing their money. Everything's pretty flat or down, so I think everyone's just flowing their money. There you go, Microsoft. Fill that gap. People are just flowing money into Nvidia right now. Whoa, Meta. Meta giving you a steep triple divergence here. If this turns around, that would not. Go see better after you start feeding. Only I could feed her right now. We still can't even give her a bottle yet. Me with mom. But it's totally possible for Nvidia to go to 1,000 if we don't get some bad news. People are starting to speculate about this AT&T thing. People are speculating, that is the Fed in control of inflation after their last statement. We'll have to see, but this could also just be a take profit moment, kind of like Bitcoin back in that a long time ago. We had a big surge, but then when the actual news comes out, people do hit the sell button. Doesn't mean it has to go into a negative trend, a downtrend. It just means you might get a pullback after one of these Fridays because there's a lot of options expiring. But if that never goes down, they can just let those expire and let it keep going up, Not crazy. But did you guys like the fact that you have a range for Nvidia today? You at least like that. We're coming right up into it at the beginning of the day. Kind of what I was saying I'd be a little worried about if we get up there too fast. Looks like the highest I could see us going is about 820. Oh, sorry. I'm tired this morning. Don't worry. I'm watching her. My eye on this. What do you think about Tesla? Oh yeah, let's check on Tesla. I think it was coming down. Still good potential here. You need, let's do a 30-minute. This is good. Oh, actually, this actually doesn't look too bad. Okay, so overall, we were saying on Tesla, if you remember, 2-hour divergence here, possibly a good time to take a little trade. We see an ABC, good trade here. If we took this, just a simple short-term options trade would have been nice. Now we were talking about up here. We were just saying, hey, we're up here. We did good. We got through this base. Now let's retest that area. Guess what? We get right around our 190.10 we've marked off as important for some time. So we retested this. Now it looks like we sprung higher, scooped out. Look at that. We have a cup. Now we get our handle. Now you have the potential to go up into this range. The only other bad thing to this is if you, so the bear side would be if you roll over here, negative territory, you start to take out this low, well, then we can start that downtrend again. So hopefully that helps. I mean, it's looking, I would say this is more bullish than bearish at this point. Not seeing too much to break down. It's just with the 30-minute. I would like buying like this to continue. Buying kind of like this way to continue. Not too excited. Not too. This big bar here, we got exhausted. So you want this. You want that for a continued amount of time. Let's do some stuff here for fun. I like to draw and do my thing. So you see this here could be the channel you're in. Very new at this, mostly on options. If you're new, you should just try to do two things: learn swing trading, or even just take trades instead of options till you feel like you're really, really good at it. That's what I used to do. I only traded stocks for first whole 2 years, 3 years. And then I just changed my strategies a little bit. Didn't Tesla break out of a pennant? I don't know. Maybe you'll have to tell me about that, but it broke out of a huge, I mean, I don't know. It broke out of this huge triangle quite some time ago. That's when the pain set in, and you're really seeing this negative trend, right? Boom, we go into negative. Boom, we go into negative. Negative. Negative again. Now this is daily, so it's more drawn out, but you notice every single time we're able to get into negative territory, we get that selling. This buying up, that's why I said Tesla's got some work to do. It has to get into positive territory to see positivity. Now, Bollinger Bands, look at that, getting tight. I'd really just be like, I really think this would play out to the upside here, but you never know. You're in negative territory, so technically, right when this rolls over, pain is coming. 2 hour and positive, though. That's overall line. More to the bull side, even though this looks like some possible flagging. Well, let's make some money today. Or if I talk a little quietly, I'm on baby duty. All right, we got 8:29. Let's go watch Nvda. We got 1 minute here. Let's just watch this 15-minute. We're right at that range as of the morning. Apple's starting to get a decent move. Let's just see how all these open up. He is getting towards the upside there too of its weekly. We're literally hitting all of the important parts. We're hitting through all the resistances, and now we're just hitting some of the last ones. So, ooh, we stop almost on the penny here. 807.83. We're about $1 off from the expected move. Ooh, we're still already overbought. We may see this fade early. Not what I'm hoping for. I really think people can see some upside here, but that's exactly what we were talking about in the video last night. If you guys tuned in, we get excited, get up here, get outside of here. That's more what I'm talking about. I really think we have a chance to go up to 820. See something happen. AMD, Apple not seeing that strength, and I really thought with this cupping, all these cups forming, it really could be good. You probably need to come up a little bit higher. Let's see if this fades early on. Q's up 0.38, SPY up 0.3. What else? Anyone see anything interesting out there? Meta up 1% to start. Morning, late night from here. What's up, Stack? What's up, Stacks? Well then, good evening. Where are you from? Wait, where are you from? Playing some AMD today. Heck yeah, that's fine. I don't think it's a bad play. I mean, you just gotta be very cautious, you know? But we're up towards this high. I mean, the only problem is, like, one thing with AMD to a bullish side is, if this daily is able to cross up, we could really be seeing some positivity. Look at that thing. It is getting close. Aussie Aussie. That's right. So what do you guys call dinner? Is dinner called... Actually, have you seen the show Kath and Kim? Stacks? Stack, have you seen the show Kath and Kim? And we're hitting the top Bollinger, so if we struggle here, this could mean we're going the other way. So you really want to spread these Bollinger Bands out. My opinion, I really hate to see this fade. Then it kind of tells me, oh, now the Bollinger Bands are a little spread out. I don't watch much TV. Well, my parents found some show. It's like, it's kind of like a, shoot, what is it? It's just like the goofiest Australian family you could ever imagine, and they're just super insane. It's really funny and light humor, but it's pretty dang funny. Irrational market. I totally agree. That's why overall I've been trying to give you those bearish moments, because it could happen at any one of those bearish signal moments. Right now, you don't necessarily have those as of this minute. You actually have AMD that could curl up, positive territory. Now, the good part here is Nvidia breaking through. You could have a divergence today. You could have a daily divergence today. So really got to pay attention to any kind of selling at the end of the day or into Monday next week. But this 15-minute divergence is probably going to mean nothing. Just so you know, this is probably going to mean nothing. Wouldn't read too far into it in the morning here. But you can read into a few things, like we talk about in the course, outside of a range. 68% chance to land back within it. We left behind a gap. We like to fill that within 5 trading sessions or day of. So if we start to see this taper down, it could make a little bit of sense. And the overall reason I'm talking about these things too is because Apple still is not getting that strength, man. And then Tesla, I believe... Interesting. Really, you'd like to see Tesla pop up higher if it wants to even sell off. Like, this looks like cup handle type attitude. But if this actually would come up here and then dip back down, you have this that could happen, grabbing liquidity right up there. You have to be careful past that 800. Look, we're hitting that 820. We're hitting that 820 as of right now. If you get past there, I'm really going to start to be a little worried. This is way too fast. This is a blow up top, and it probably could keep going, honestly, but I think if people hit the sell button today, there's 820. You see the little bit of selling come in at 820. I think AMD turns the 2-hour MACD into sell, needs something. Hour. Yeah, AMD, the main thing we were looking at, right? Last night's video, if you tuned in, if you create some kind of divergence across the board, I would say maybe a 4-hour divergence, actually. You see how close we are to that negative territory. This divergence still holding. As of now, we're getting a lot of wicks up here. I really am worried about this going forward. I'm going to check maximum pain real quick. Down. Sleep. Good. We're good. Starts to wake up. Give me a shh in the chat. Alright, 23. God, that 800 call wall is insane. Next one would be 850 if we get really excited, but you saw these diminish. Tons of calls. Everyone also a lot of puts trying to just call the bot, but no. I want you guys to see this 800 call. Look at that 800 call. Look how much that grew. It like almost doubled, I think, the last time we looked at it. That's crazy. You could see a lot of selling come in at the end of the day. And now we have a 4-hour divergence up here on Nvda. But you can't, it's really hard to bet against these things, guys. I would really risk management about you. Making all kinds of noises right. So we're up towards that 820. Once we get towards 830, 825, that's really where I'm going to be like, okay, now we might see some selling come in. But if we don't, we can just keep squeezing. If people keep trying to short this all day, like with 0 DTE, like this thing can keep squeezing people. But God, the fact that Apple's negative now just really worries me on this, because you have a 2-hour that's not in positive yet. It could start to break through this level with this bounce, match this little left shoulder. Maybe all of this wasn't even a right shoulder. Maybe this is right here. And if this starts to break down, that would be a bad signal. 822, 822. 2-hour, this is the divergence we talked about. It could create that divergence anytime now. Right now is where we need to really pay attention. Look at that. It's above that. This is what we were worried about, going up way too fast. Now, it could be blowing off. We could see people do those 0 DTE options trades, and then they get squeezed as well. So crazy things can happen when you're outside, right? Crazy things can happen up here. But 68% of the time, you land back within this zone. Just so you know, I believe we're still within the weekly range. That's how big the range was this week. All of this is within the weekly range. Crazy. S&P hit 5100. I gotta see that. Still not its daily range, but we're outside of the weekly 15-minute, making some kind of small divergence. I don't know if we can read too much into that, because this is very bullish and it'll just stay up there if Nvidia doesn't drop. But you're seeing that resistance come in right around above 820, which is overall my kind of like, that's really where the resistance should come in, is like right in between 820 and 830. At least based on what the options has told us. This right here means, hey, we're getting overextended. We are 68% chance to land back within, and the weekly's right above you, like right up in here. So we touch around that weekly, we start to break down. Maybe I'll pull that up for the weekend video. But how are you guys liking the ranges? I know my videos have been getting a little less views. The likes have been good, but maybe that's on my part. Maybe it's my SEO or something like that, or my thumbnails. Okay. Is this almost? Someone tell me. Do you guys know what hidden divergence is? Does anyone know? Right, you know. Would this be considered hidden divergence for a double topping? It's coming up while this is flat. Then you have like a regular divergence down here that's pretty flat with this. I'd really just look. If this breaks through here, gets into negative territory, it's probably not a good sign. 30 minutes, same thing, right? That's what we're really paying attention to on Tesla. Kinda looks like hidden divergence to me. Nvidia going down to 816. Any reason to take a trade just yet? Not fully. If this AMD likes to keep consolidating right here, guess what? You're just shy of the highs. You keep consolidating, you got probably one more push left. This wants to start to roll over, look for a retest of this area right in here. That's been pretty important over and over. Retest right in here. Then we can turn around. If it starts to just take off to the downside, watch for this to break because we could see in something flip. Nvidia holding at 817.
At least three major hotspots outside the U.S., but then we've got our own hotspots here. And there are at least two elements. There's one: can we conduct a free and fair election in this country where we have a definitive winner on November 6th? And then secondly, what are the policy implications from a change in occupant in the White House? If
They're just talking about the election stuff. Election stuff, classic. Oh yeah, meta's what I wanted to look at. It's got a 2-hour forming. Trying to see if something happens here. Let's see. No. Hour. Got triple. Happening here. And Nvidia, almost said Nvidia. I hate when people say Nvidia because it's NVI, and I almost did it. Man, part of me thinks like people outflowed from Apple into Nvidia. There's nothing here saying weakness. Lunar. I can take a look though. We can always check the daily first. Damn, that is a move there. Oof. My God, this thing is wild. Yeah, you're getting a matching high up here. See some sell off. Still in a positive trend though on the 2-hour. Just wait for your beat down, you know what I mean? because you don't know where this will base out. This could flip the other way. It seems pretty volatile, but if this wants to go for another push, I would just be patient here. Yeah, we're up in the moon. We're there. This is your divergence you're seeing here. If this holds, you have a triple divergence across the board. We actually could see something flip here. No one would see that coming either. That would be what I consider a sell the news event. 48 hours after earnings, sell the news. But there's a lot of calls. There's a lot of calls, and people are, as long as people are still trying to call at the top, it could keep going higher and squeeze those people out. So it's just very hard to call tops on things like this. Meta giving you almost a quadruple divergence on the, I guess there's not really one here, but you do have a triple divergence across the board between these highs. You have a triple divergence here on the MACD and RSI at the same time, but it hasn't confirmed yet. You need that to turn around. You need that to cross on the MACD. But if that goes negative, you're going to cut through this kind of quick, right? There's nothing here to hold us up. Yeah, there's nothing there to hold you up. So your next point would probably be down in here at this gap fill. So we could go all the way down to somewhere like 400 soon. Might have to do a weekly range for Meta at some point because that is steep. AMD losing 1%. So this is overall what we're talking about. If it wants to hold up, it needs to hold up in this important area here. You'll notice when we break above it, we kind of gapped above this tiny area here. We gap above it. We break right back down. Guess what? We bounce up. We see it as resistance. Down. We see it as resistance. We come down. Then we see it as resistance again. We come down. So this area here will be very important to hold up in. Or AMD. Nvidia, still a good chance we go to the 825 level. That's, you know, right when we got to what's the high on this? 823.94. That's really, really close. That area between 820 and 830 is going to. Thank you guys as always for joining. Make sure to like that stream. I might have to go check on this baby soon. She is wiggling. Let me go check on her real quick. I'm going to leave Nvidia up on the page here. Keep your eye on, I'm going to roll this up. Keep your eye on Meta to the right because that's one that could flip on you. All right, I'll be right back. And we're back. What's up, dudes? Oh, let me turn this cam on. You guys love seeing this beautiful face. All right, so we went up to a point where we could see that resistance. We tried to talk about that last night, that 820. Right when we get above that 820, we see some selling come in. If we look on a shorter time frame, though, until you're able to break down, because we could see the same thing happen as yesterday, which is this right here, this white line. Pretty much, we gapped above the daily range. We see that continued strength, and then we hover above it. So we can do that one more time. Oh, this wasn't the daily range. This was just the gap above the previous high. Very important to do that. We get that little dip down to get some buyers. Consolidate, boom, completing a small cup, no handle, just booming. So no real divergence that I see at this point, so very calming to listen to first thing. So thank you. Good. I mean, I don't know if I have the most calming voice in the world, but AMD going down now by 1.23. Meta seeing that sell off. This is what we were really talking about here. We have a triple divergence on Meta. Man, if they wanted a time to really hurt the market, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, anything like that. I'm just saying if they really wanted a time to hurt the market, it would be peak euphoria right now. I need to go look at the VIX. The VIX breaking down to lower levels by about 2%. We were really paying attention if some kind of 30-minute divergence forms. Looks like this is not holding true at this point. That was more of just an idea, but we do have a divergence here, very close to positive territory. Radio-esque voice in an ASMR kind of way. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You guys are the best. Oh, God. At least I have a decent mic, you know? That's good. I mean, I don't really pay attention short time frames on the dollar, but you do have a little bit of potential here if we can break through here to start a positive trend on the 30-minute right at positive territory. So, you know, this would really be a moment where if people hit the sell button like we were talking about, we could get that fading that we mentioned at the beginning of the week before we even saw these earnings. We were saying, hey, two scenarios here that I actually, in my opinion, would be we see bad forward guidance. We didn't necessarily see that bad forward guidance, but the second scenario was we get that huge bullishness, and then we see people take profit in a great dad sort of way. Yeah, I had to, baby girl was a little tough last night, so Dad had to take care of her for the last couple hours, maybe. But she took care of her for 6 hours, so she's champ. Mama's a champ. The Qs, we're seeing that resistance right at the weekly. So you see how we're getting that wicking up above the weekly move here. That is something to really pay attention to. I believe the 2 hour here was what we were mentioning, creating some kind of divergence up here. That's something we mentioned at the beginning of the week as well, this little divergence. You guys remember me drawing this line like this. This is really where we could see some stuff flip. SPY, almost the same scenario. We're still possibly creating a divergence with this mark here up into this area. We did leave behind this gap, so we'll have to see. It's closer to that daily move. 68% chance we land in here. 68% chance we land right in this pocket. This is a very likely pocket to end the day. Based on the probabilities, this right here is what options would probably love to see the market close into, just right below that 506.27, but above 504.44. We'll have to see. Meta, just paying attention to. I know it's not one that we necessarily cover, but we might mention it because this is a triple divergence. If you cross, look how close you are to negative territory. This is something that we go over in the course frequently, is this positive negative territory being very important. You see this whole uptrend, we struggled to remain in positive territory, right? We mostly see the line stay above the center line. That invites positivity when we start to break down. As far as earnings go, boom, we start to explode higher, immediately back in positive, go back into negative for a short period of time, positive, 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 positive. So MU just went negative. What else just went negative? AMD down 1.52. I wonder if people are flowing that back into Nvidia. Tesla down 1% now. Not looking the best. If this 30-minute curls over for Tesla, we have to be a little bit cautious with it. It has not confirmed another move higher at this point. And we're right by negative territory. So if this wants to sell off, break through this level, you could be getting some kind of ABC pattern here that could play out to the downside, maybe testing the low there. Let's go from this wick all the way up here to be nice with it. You could be testing a little bit lower levels, grab some liquidity before you actually want to make that move higher. So for right here, you could say if this wanted to build, you would get this. Maybe we get a fake out down, come back up, get back in that channel, and then we can go higher. This would just tell me insufficient liquidity to head higher, dip down to lower levels, get a little bit of a fake out with this flagging, grab liquidity in here, and then see that reaction up, getting some kind of left head, right shoulder, right around here for the right shoulder. That's overall what I see on Tesla. Amazon, something I'm worried about with Amazon is this high. So there's two things here. The good part is the 30-minute is actually pretty good in this positive territory, so we have to wait for that to go negative before we can get bearish. The 2-hour is really what I'm looking at. It's in positive territory, but you notice we're starting to create some kind of divergence up here right next to negative territory. So we got this divergence here, led to this. Now do we get a triple divergence coming up a little bit higher or even dead flat, which looks like it's almost flat right now. So you could be getting some kind of double topping in here. Has not confirmed yet though. So you can't get bearish on this until even the 30-minute gets negative or the 2-hour crosses. This could still push higher. Let me look at that range for you. Amazon 175. And that's exactly where we've been hitting. 175.30. 175.35 on the high for right now. And 175.39 for the high. So you'll notice once we get out of that weekly expected move, twice now, we've seen that kind of hold as resistance. Apple not seeing that strength. This is something that I'll tell you right now, I did take the trade in Apple. I thought maybe it would catch up pretty quickly. It's taking too long, following my gut, getting out because it's really struggling to get into positive at this point. I wanted to see that strength into positive territory kind of consolidate and then go a little higher. So this, then base out, and then this, and then we'd have to see that reaction up in this level. That was overall my play. It's not happening for me, so I got out of that trade. Now Nvidia down to 805, back within its daily range. 15-minute, small flat divergence on the 15-minute here. AMD gave you that signal. It's coming down into where it needs to hold up. This needs to hold up right here. I'm sure if we made a daily range for Nvidia, it would probably be somewhere down in here. This level has been very important. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Even resistance right there. When we get outside of it, it's not for long. We come back down. So that level will be very important. Hopefully, if you're on the bull side, you get some wicking here and start to head up again for another push. Meta, something I'll pay attention to. Man, it's weird to see. It's pretty much a point where it's like either we are going to sell off or we're going to start to violate these divergences, right? So it's either, let's just take Meta for example, like this 2-hour. Okay, it's really close to negative territory. We're starting to break to the upside. In order for this to not be valid, we really would like to see a big push to create one more high like this on the MACD, giving us a big push. That way it gets kind of overbought, and then we can see that positivity kind of continue on the RSI, kind of continue on the MACD, giving us another point in the future to pay attention to. I'm really liking if this scenario happens, that CPI date in March. I think that would be very, very interesting. I'd like to see AMD pop down to 175, clear the bankers candle from yesterday on the 30-minute. AMD, I think 175 is a good level. I will say that 175 is a good level. You just now crossed on the 30-minute. So you just do not want this to come and fill this gap. If it comes and fills this gap and gets some kind of small bounce, be a little bit cautious. Pay attention to the narrative. Pay attention to probably what Nvda is doing. Because if this comes down and we get some kind of little pop, even if it crosses on that MACD, I would be a little bit freaked out that this is some kind of trap, and is it going to be able to match that price again? Definitely can, but it just opens the door for us to break to the downside. Just describe my exit flags. Yeah, I'm like, if I take a trade and I'm on like the second day and I'm still not seeing that positivity, but I'm up by 10%, I'm like, you know what? I can look for the next one. I don't care what it does. I'm like, I'll take my 10% and walk. And Apple flipped negative right after I did it, right? So I actually, let's see, I sold literally pretty much right at open, right at this level right here. Took my 10% and walked. AMD almost down 2%. Nvidia back within the daily, well, not actually Nvidia above the daily range again. If you see more resistance topping tails like this on a 30-minute, that's not the best sign either. Or the end of the day. Up to 1.48, hitting a new high here, getting a flatness of the MACD, divergence now on the 30-minute right here. So now you have a 30-minute divergence behind a 2-hour divergence, right? So a 2-hour triple. And then you can look at the daily here and say it's creating possibly another divergence, but you already have those on the RSI down here. A lot to pay attention to. Meta looks pretty good overall, right? We consolidate sideways, open up those Bollinger Bands. We could see a further move. Your risk is coming down and closing this gap. So that's really the risk here that the Bollinger Bands are telling you. This is where you could go to the downside. This is where you could go up. So you're looking like 25 points higher or 100 points lower. So risk to reward, guys. Risk to reward. Nvidia back at 812, hitting outside of that Bollinger Band. So the risk here is we don't know. It could go ballistic, it could go up, but right now the Bollinger Band's telling you this doesn't have any more room. And the other side of the Bollinger Band is pretty much saying this pocket right in here, right around the 50. I would say that's 607. So your upside is unknown, and your downside is possibly 200 points lower. You think about it that way. That's at least how I like to think about it from the daily scale. AMD, notice it hit the top side. Thank you so much for subscribing, Grubster. Appreciate it. Thank you. Everyone go like the stream for Grubster and say, hey, welcome, Grubster. Do you like grub? Did you eat breakfast? I didn't. Coffee's my breakfast. But my daughter is eating breakfast right now. We just don't eat the same things yet. But if AMD is telling us anything, it's, remember, I was like, I'm worried if this fades. If we start to fade at the top of the Bollinger and we don't get that strength to spread it out, that is kind of worrisome. So it's right at the point where it needs to hold up, because now you're inviting this to be a trap, spreading out the Bollinger to the upside, and then you can cross back down. And then that would have to spread out the Bollinger to the downside, and you can kind of get that more volatile behavior. Or if you want to go up, it would just be more volatile behavior. Volatility does have that 30-minute divergence. I'm going to keep my eye on that. It is in positive territory on the daily scale. Pretty crazy. You do have the opportunity here for some kind of volatility pop. We are by that positive territory. We're creating a little bit of a basing out here. So if we do something like that, want to break through this level, we could get another surge here. Getting pretty tight. pretty tight right now, so we could see that pop. Let's see if we created any kind of 2 hours. No 2 hours, but this is overall what we were talking about. Yes, we're going into negative territory on the 2 hour. Means we could come down and fill this gap. But if this is able to turn around soon, going into next week, positive territory, no divergence up here yet, so we could make a big, big move. SPY, the Q's still closing now below the weekly. We're seeing this resistance we were talking about. Hey, we mentioned this in the video a couple videos ago. This one here. Right down here, we were like, okay, there's a lot of resistance to get through. You have this trend line. You have the gap resistance here. You have the resistance of the daily, which was right around here yesterday. And then the resistance is above you and these highs. So there's a lot of resistance up in here. A lot. And right now, all you're doing is creating a 2 hour divergence. So you have potential here for a flip. No one would see it coming. I'm not saying it has to happen. I'm just saying, hey, there's potential here. So be a little cautious today and going early into next week. This needs to really start to extend or base out, then extend for this to go higher. We got a crier. She's crying. I tried to make the sound setting so you guys wouldn't hear when she does cry. She's just... Oh, we're changing diapers.
$51.06, so above 5,100. I know the round numbers. They kind of fun to talk
those
about.
Those round numbers, yeah, the technicians love those.
Yeah, I think on the Dow, I'm going to quote the Dow because John Farrow's not here, but we're on 39,000 and change. We're on a 40,000 watch there for the Dow Jones
Industrial. Yesterday was the first time the Dow crossed 39,000.
Yep.
And Jeff Hirsch actually had called back after the great financial crisis 38,000 before 2025. So he got that call right.
Look at that.
And it's even well ahead of that.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Jess Menton, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Jess Menton covers all the markets for us. She joins us here in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker Studio. The story again today is Nvda stock trading up on the back of that really good earnings we had earlier in the week, and obviously had that big surge yesterday, but it's up a few percent here today. I'm looking at the stock again, trailing 12 months up over 240%, up 60% just year to date. $2.02 trillion. Let's check in with Mandeep Singh. He's a senior technology analyst for Bloomberg Intelligence, and he knows all about this kind of stuff. So Mandeep, I think we've broken down the quarter. We know the business is good. We had Gene Munster on in the last hour for a couple segments there. He remains uber bullish here, and he says that this AI is just below
AMD needs to hold up
in
here.
terms of how it's going to impact our lives.
Facebook is now using AI for advertising. That was pretty interesting to hear, but
thoughts as it relates to
kind of
AI
scary because they
and
steal a bunch of data already, and now they're going to use AI to do it.
I think this is, something transformational, multi-year.
IWM not heading higher either. Apple, look at that. It's still not showing very well. 30-minute could roll over if that starts to go negative, which it is wedging here. So big move may be coming in Apple, possibly down to this gap down here.
Getting in the stock, and what is a multiple that discounts for the growth going far out beyond 3 to 4 quarters, which I think they have great visibility on. And so that's where there is
I woke up and chose violence.
Even a high quality stock,
so funny. AMD 2.38 now.
But it's not infinity.
The bottom of this zone is probably this 174.50. So if you start to break below 174.50, that's going to be a little bit dangerous.
And the price,
you have a little bit of room here.
Multiples and valuation, and I think that's the part that market still is figuring out. What is
he's coming back within the monthly now.
Like
Mandeep, let's just
so really
for a second to what Nvidia's technology actually is. It says here that they dominate the market for.
Okay, so something with the Qs right now. My position violated as in the money. So something to point out here on the Qs is we talked about all the resistances we would have up in this area. That's why we really kept drawing our big line from here back in the day to this area. Right here is pretty damn important. If Aapl could participate, this really would get going, but Apple's not confirming any of this. It is sitting at lower levels. The big thing here is if you come up here, you have a 68% chance to land in here. You have a 68% chance for the weekly side to land in here. And then you also have a 68% chance for the month to land in here. So right now, this area in here is very probable to end the day as of now. Very probable. Now you can pay attention to this, see if it's able to roll down, use this as support, roll back up. That would still be bullish. Now, if this gets into negative territory, we can talk about that next week. But as of right now, running into resistance right where we expect that to come in. Aapl down 0.4 still. Amazon starting to surge a little bit higher. So I wanted to click on that real quick. Look at this 2-hour divergence that could form. But look, it's still low. If we want to head to much higher levels, that would make sense. We would still have that divergence. We could see a few green bars here. I don't know if we make it all the way up to here. We're right at that weekly expected move right now. So Amazon, little worrisome today. Where it's at as of right now, the probabilities would tell you, hey, this is a time maybe to take the foot off the gas for this week. We could get a bigger range next week, though. So if this doesn't want to fully fade and close outside of it, you do have more potential for that extended growth. Tesla now down 1.7. This is something we talked about with the possible flagging we got going on here. Let's see if this 30-minute has crossed. We have it as of right now. So if we want Tesla to remain in an uptrend, we really have to remain in this positive territory here. If we start to lose these levels, right, lose this, well, we could still get some kind of head and shoulders here. If we want to see positivity, but this would be saying, hey, we're continuing this negative trend and we could just keep going, taking out this low. Good time to think about this type of stuff. I know that Rivian is probably... Is Rivian still dropping today? Does anyone know? Boom, still dropping as of today. Still in that oversold daily scale. Look at those. Holy fam, that is bad. Oh my gosh, that is really bad. Holy, what is that? 34% in 2 days, guys. 34% in 2 days. That is crazy. Thank you guys as always for liking the channel. In the last 10 to 15 minutes, we will be going through every single stock, looking at those signals. This weekend on Saturday, we will have a regular video that's just talking about what we're seeing in front of us. And then on Sunday, we will give you guys those weekly risk ranges. I'm still going to look at the numbers, see if you guys are really enjoying those daily ranges, because my videos did actually suffer a little bit this week. And I'm wondering if that is the reason. So I want to pay attention to that. If the numbers show me that it is kind of making my videos suffer to do that style, then I will probably be switching back to the old style, but I can maybe do daily ranges for the SPY and Qs on Patreon. So I'm just going to look at the numbers and see what was going on. But for the most part, looked like the viewership went a little bit down, even though the likes were decent. So we'll have to pay attention to all of that. But if you like the ranges, you can tell me right now. There's 37 of you. If 37 people say I like the ranges videos, then we'll keep doing them. If not, then maybe I'll just put them on Patreon for the people that do want them. That way you get the weekly ranges for all the stocks that we cover and the daily range for SPY and Qs. Every single day. I love them. I love them. And it could have been me. I was looking, my SEO was good. It just was overall saying people were clicking on my video less. So I didn't know if that was the reason or because I put out 2 bullish videos this week. Iglesias likes him. Mindful Notion loves him. Loves him. Frankie Wheelhouse loves him. Okay. So at least we have some that love him. If you don't love him, tell me that too, guys. If you sustain, love them. Good. Maybe we just need to see if the way I'm breaking them down. Appreciate your knowledge and efforts. Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate that. Maybe I just need to figure out the way I'm filming it needs to be a little bit better. Like maybe just go through the SPY, then go through the updated SPY, so you don't, because right now I'm doing SPY Q, SPY Q. Maybe I could just do SPY with the updated ranges. So SPY with yesterday, SPY with today's, SPY with tomorrow's, Qs with today, Qs with tomorrow's, then go into the other stocks that we're talking about. I'm glad you guys are liking them, though. I hope they are helpful. They've helped me out before. Mainly, it just is nice to do those from a person who's making analysis about daily stuff. It does help you further understand that daily analysis. Because sometimes I feel like I'm repeating the same thing 10 times in my videos. So this kind of gives me a way to be a little bit versatile with what I'm talking about. That there is you see this break, you want to see that continued strength. We still can. I like this channel. Thank you, Dabusta. Is that a dog? Oh, that's a cute puppy. I see it. That's a cute puppy. Our old man is sleeping beneath us. Our small dog. We got the big dog sleeping behind me. And the biggest dog sleeping on the couch. Kind of leaning forward today, so I don't want to be out of the screen. US 100, this actually did break. So potential here for still some kind of right shoulder. That would make a lot of sense. Just looking at this, kind of showing you guys what I was looking at from the futures perspective. Taking the point between these highs here and then copying that. It's actually a pretty, almost spot on copy, right? So this could have been flagging. Now we start to head higher. If we needed to grab more liquidity, you might see this dip back down, grab some stuff in here, give you kind of what looks like a right shoulder. Appreciate these live videos. Thank you. Frankie, I really, really appreciate it that you are the first super, is that a super chat? I don't even know. Very first one. Thank you so much. Can we get some Frankies in the chat? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Do you have Discord? Love your content for someone new. You don't make it feel intimidating. Thank you. Thank you. Frankie, seriously, thank you so much. Like for Frankie. Thank you. Sam Murray, whatever. Do you have Discord? I don't have a Discord, but people are asking for it a lot. And overall, I do like my Patreon as of right now. There you go, Frankie. Look at you on the big screen with the super chat. Boom, $19.99. Thank you so much. Yay! Simply Arabella. She must be terrible at video games or something. The terrible gamer girl. She must be awful. What nonsense are you talking about? For this? Milan, what are you saying? Hummy, what are you saying? I don't know what you're talking about either. You're awesome. Running in. Thank you, One True King. That's the true king right there. He is still struggling at where we're talking about. Still struggling here. Let's see if we can push through. Kind of, if we want to get bullish here, we kind of either got to push through or consolidate, then push through. Got to firmly get through this level. AMD still down 2%. Nvidia going back below once it hit that 820 to 830 level we were talking about. Right in between there was where we were targeting 823. We see that drop off. So we're seeing that drop off a little bit, still holding above 800. So if the shorts pile on and Nvidia is able to hold above 800, it could be more squeezing throughout the day. Meta now down to 1%. It's down 0.5% from where it was a moment ago. Bitcoin still looking fine, holding at about 5,100. IWM went green. And the VIX here still not getting that crossing of a 30-minute. This divergence here. Now, is that just going to be a subtle pop? We have to really pay attention if this is going to remain in positive territory and start to roll over that 2 hour. You trade crypto? I have traded crypto before. My biggest trade was Dogecoin. I just saw the marketing behind it, and I worked for a marketing agency for a while, so I know that when it comes to coins and stuff like that, good marketing is very good. So they were just very, very popular, and I bought like right before Elon Musk first talked about it, so I turned $100 into $6,000. And then I traded Bitcoin back and forth, probably making little 5-10% increments. But Bitcoin's something you really have to. It's kind of like, I really like it just from the daily side now. So I'm seeing this crossing of the MACD as of right now, closing below the 9 for the first time. Opens up the door because we move through this very quickly. We can go just as quickly down. So we can actually see this start to head down. Now, if we want to base out, this would be a good level to do it. Somewhere around that 40, I'd say 44, 42,000. Come down into this area and then see that curl back up. MACD behavior, boom, boom. Could see more positivity. Now, if we dip a little bit lower into this area, say like 40,000, then you can get a right shoulder and really start to roll over because this will get a little deeper into negative. But right now, this, as of right now, that's bullish. You have to see how it reacts off of these moving averages and curl back up. So do I trade crypto right now, though? No, I haven't traded crypto in probably, might be like a year and a half since I last traded crypto. Let me look at Bitcoin. Let me see where my last trade was actually. My last trade was way back here. Do this because sometimes with it I also do a weekly. Let's see. So this crossing here was where I took my last trade. I believe I bought somewhere around 21,000, right around this level here. And that's just because I noticed, hey, we have these two lows here. We started to taper. Then we don't necessarily get a divergence on the MACD, but we did have one on the RSI. So I treated it like a bounce. We bounced all the way up into a 30,000. I believe this is where I took profit. And then we saw that, and this really looked like some kind of head and shoulders was forming. So I got a little, I was like, I'm not going to reinvest. Boom, it turns back up in positive territory. So weekly, this is good because it turns back up in positive territory right on this bar. Maybe a good investment, but I like to invest down at these levels when I'm trading coins and stuff like that. Missed out on a lot of profit here, but still profitable at the end of the day, and that's what's good. AMD now down 2.4. It's still in the area, right? We said 174.50 is pretty much where we are looking at the lowest side for AMD. If we start to break below there, gonna be a little bit worried. Nvidia now only at 803. We're getting closer and closer to that 800 mark. This was the fading that can happen early on if we get outside of those ranges. We talked about it in the video last night. There's the video from last night just mentioning, hey, we could form some kind of 2-hour divergence. Also, 30-minute kind of up in no man's land. If we wanted to get a little bit more structure, I really would have liked a reaction down, maybe even coming out of that daily range, hitting a 750, baiting some people into some shorts, and then squeezing towards the end of the day. But this is not dramatic selling. This is not dramatic profit taking. We could just kind of move sideways here, get this to taper to the right, and then see another push. So this is still positive as of right now. Very hard to call a top on a very ballistic stock. AMD now back within the triangle, seeing that point of resistance come in with that triangle there. So now you're back within this. And now you have to see, was this a fake out, or is it just needing to go grab some buyers in there to head higher? Pay attention to that positive negative territory there. Apple definitely not confirming this move. About to cross on this MACD. Reddit's going to IPO? Damn, that's insane. Holy crap, when does that happen? That's crazy. What other one do we have? Sorry if you guys hear some crying. She's a little sad. Vic's not seeing that pop with some stuff dropping off. SPY holding pretty good. If it's able to hold level here, good sign we might see another push. Apple not confirming. Amazon getting that wicking right at that weekly expected move, guys. That weekly expected move right here. We hit it up in this area. It's towards this high. We hit it once, sell off. Or we hit it once, we sell off. We hit it once again, sell off again. Now that's not a sell off necessarily. We're just seeing it. Some resistance come in. Reddit, the social media company, founded in 2005 by technology entrepreneurs Alexis Ohanian, and raised about 1.3 billion in funding and has a post valuation of 10 billion. So that they're planning on IPOing. That's kind of nuts. Part of me is like, I'm a little surprised that hasn't happened already, actually. Let me see. Is this? You have a divergence on the MAC or the RSI here. You actually have the flatness of the MACD and a divergence on the RSI at the same time. That's a momentum dying out signal, so potential for some selling to come in on Meta. Potential, right? We're still positive. IWM flipping negative again. SPY consolidating. Yeah, that's overall what I was saying. Even if I look at a 15-minute, you see how it's kind of flattening out on a 15-minute. If it wants to keep doing that or even go fill this gap, it would make sense. So right now you have a little fight between bears and bulls right here. If we can break to the upside, we can squeeze outside of these daily ranges. But you do have that potential for this to resist. It's not support until you're able to break through it and kind of retest that area. Q's really struggling here. Now you are seeing this monthly act as support a couple times, right? 3 times actually. So if this wanted to keep moving sideways, base out around here, come up into the bottom or the daily expected move, then gotta dip out for more morning meetings. Good luck all. Thank you, Review, for stopping by. Always a pleasure to have you here, my dude. Good luck at your meetings. I hope they go fantastic. Tesla, this is what we needed to pay attention to on a 30-minute. We really got to see if this crossing holds. Not the best sign, but not in negative territory yet. This could still be some kind of huge handle. So you really want this to get back up to here, kind of go upward. It still could be a huge one, but that is, the probabilities are starting to pile up that this is going to break. So you really want to hold up at these levels because this could just be a liquidity grab still. If it starts to break down to here, good chance we're going to cut below this 190.10. Qs, they're at 0.04. Nvidia just broke below 800. So that 800 number, we're seeing it break below 15-minute. This is a pretty good selling pattern as of right now on the 15 and the 30. If that can continue, you will most likely see the continued selling till we taper. And Meta now at 0.52. AMD 177. Just keeping my eyes kind of bouncing around a lot here just to make sure I'm keeping track of everything. Apple breaking down just a tiny bit further, nothing crazy, 0.6. It was down 0.5, now it's down 0.6. The Qs finally went negative. They're zeroed out, down 0.01 at times here, 0.0. Now it's up, so we're really at that mid-level. See if AMD is able to cross back down here. Rates actually coming down while TLT is popping up. Interesting. Yeah. I'm getting my second coffee of the day. So you have a buy signal here, good signal to pay attention to on TLT, the 2-hour divergence that is formed. 2-hour divergence here, good push higher at this point. Buy signal popping up, but not in positive territory yet, but you do have the potential here for this all to close now, get some kind of big handle, and then pop up. So we actually could see those yields dropping soon. VIX dropping off, so people still on the call side of things. Use back to positive. So they flip negative for like maybe a minute, back to positive. And up near mid 700s today. Yes, I really doubt it breaks below its daily range today. We have to be open to it because we could see rapid, kind of like SMCI. I really like that 750 level still. Right, they're kind of right in between each other, that 760 to 750 area. So like we were paying attention to 820 to 830 up in here, which is right where that resistance came in, 823. Now we pay attention to this right here, gap support. You have support at the high, and then you have outside of the daily. So you do have probabilities if we get down here to head up, but we're not worried about that at this point. Right now you're seeing that selling come in, but it's not the most dramatic. It's really not. This could even go fill the gap and then keep going. So I'm just paying attention to this MACD. That is the one that shows you buy sell indicator. Thank you in advance. If you guys want this, I know a lot of people like to hide their indicators. I don't hide mine. Just type this up there, SMA 950 180. I changed this to this 180 to a 200, and I kind of flip my 9 back and forth between a 5 and a 9 based on what I'm doing. EMA 20 buy sell. I found this like years ago. I found this, and it's just simple. It's good. That's all I've been using. I would say don't put a lot of emphasis on the buy signals and things. You'd be better off. You'll get better trades if you more try to do it yourself, because sometimes it lags behind. So where were we looking for a break to the upside? Well, this one actually lines up. Okay, so these highs here, we were really looking for a break to the upside to see more positivity at these highs, right? And so your buy signal is more so, you can take a plunge at this a little bit before this buy signal if you wanted. You could say, hey, this looks like it's going to curl up. Guess what? We got that crossing of the MACD right here on this bar. This is technically where you would take that trade. You'd be a little worried as you are at the top of the Bollinger, but because they're tight, you could say, hey, these are going to spread out. Just hard to, Apple's a good one. Apple, we were talking about a long time ago. This is the big run that we called. We actually called this big run. We just thought it would have more structure going up to really extend into the fall of this year. I really originally thought fall of this year looked like when the crash was going to start, or some kind of bear market, or some kind of bigger correction. So I wanted more structure, meaning something like this. Then we could keep going. That would look a lot more flowy. Since we went rapidly up, you get rapidly down. So But we did call the bottom here on Aapl. It was a great trade. It was a great trade. Triple divergence down here. Lot of bearish sentiment right here. Everyone was bearish. Everyone was bearish. And you'll notice that actually your buy could have been maybe on this bar here to take a plunge at it. You have the triple divergence. You're right next to positive territory, maybe somewhere around this 174. And then I would probably sell that option out at about 182.39, just kind of matching this high in case some resistance comes in with this gapping, this high. But we didn't necessarily see that resistance, but it's still a very good trade. This is the overall one that I took at these lows here. Now, you should know when you do have triple divergence, and we did have a 2-hour divergence down here, and then we had a 30-minute divergence. When you have all those at the same time, you can hold those for longer. So that's where. Call me crazy, but I think we are forming a major top. This won't end well. Yes, and that is what I've talked about in a lot of my videos with the, say, the Qs here. This is why I wanted more structure going up, because you notice that we are outside of our wedge, okay? So I really wanted us to get this, consolidate before we break out of this, maybe even dip down to lower levels to grab liquidity in here. That would give you a more sustainable time frame. Then you can really, break down, do this full measured move, get some resistance at the high and flag out, maybe hit the 50 and then come back up. And then you can kind of do this stair step up. But we didn't really stair step up. We launched up, went sideways, launched up, and then we were like, oh, this is maybe it, because we had divergence up here. So this divergence up here kind of gave you a little hint that we're going to see some kind of pullback. Guess what? We react here and we go a little bit higher. So swing traders galore, right? Swing traders love this type of stuff. Now you'll notice we're getting it's getting tighter, a lot more wonkiness in price action, not this. A lot more like up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So we're getting more fluctuation back and forth, which does like to happen at towards tops. Two-hour. Really just watching this, seeing if it's able to roll over. I want to do something here. I just want to see if this would line up for myself real quick. Okay, so we're above that level right now. Apple's still not confirming that move. Tesla able to hold up a tiny bit. It needs to hold up there. AMD still at the same spot. Meta down to 0.63 with a triple divergence on there. So if this wants to not confirm down Dr. Monkfish, then we have to really see some positivity here, or see this kind of just roll over quickly and not go into negative territory. That's how you would stay in a positive trend. You just don't want to go deep into negative. You pretty much don't want to chop below this level, because we can go through this really fast because we skipped all of it. So go through it pretty quick. Can you explain the visuals for SMA9? The visuals here is pretty much at least how I have mine. I like my 9 as the red, 20 as my yellow, and the 50 as the purple. And then I changed the 200. I'm pretty sure it's not white. I just like a thick white line. I thicken it up so I really know like this. This is a pretty good line in the sand all the time. So once you start to lose that 200, a lot of people will say, oh, we're in a downtrend fully on the daily and things like that. But I want to trade again. What do you suggest? Oh, I would tell you that as of right now, that resistance came in right where we were talking about. I don't know if you remember, Dr. Monkfish, we were talking about that 820 level or just the above 800 level. So we get above 800. We get towards that 820 to 830 was really where I was thinking today, we could see that start to halt. We did. We went to 823, we halted, and then we came back down. So it shows you how useful those weekly ranges are, because I'm only basing that off of the weekly range at this point, because we have a 68% chance, even with this big move here. This is a huge move. Guess what? We're still within the weekly range. It's right there. In the weekly range is literally right there. Look where that touched. How's March seasonality? Actually, right now we are in a seasonality for a election year. We usually see a downturn as of a few trading days ago. So really pay attention to the fact that we're going higher in a normally seasonality where we would actually go lower. All of those things you can use as little ticks. Thank you. But overall, you still want to follow the price action. You know, people say we can't see a crash because of an election year. Okay, tell me about 2020. Okay, tell me about 2008. Okay, tell me about was it 2012 or 2016 we saw a downturn. It's like we've seen 2016. We've seen downturns, big downturns during election years. 2000 maybe, yeah, 2000. Obviously 2000, 1999 to 2000 to 2000, like Jesus. So seasonality is good to watch because it can give you a little bit more confidence. Like if you're seeing like on Aapl, the seasonality matched up on the daily side of things. Okay, so the seasonality actually matched up. We got that downturn, and then in October, going into December, pretty much, we have positivity. So we had a triple divergence. At the same time, that seasonality can convince you, okay, that divergence is valid. If this actually makes a move higher, we can see some strength into the end of the year. Hope you stay active because I might need your advice more often than you would think. I'd stay pretty active. I'd like to continue doing live video, but I am seeing my regular YouTube videos drop off, and I do not know the reason for that yet. So if you are part of this channel, you really like it, make sure you're watching that video, and even if you're watching just the parts that you enjoy, maybe give it an extra minute or two. Make sure to like it, do all that good stuff. And I'm not saying it's worrisome or anything. It's just I've been getting notified, hey, your viewership's going down ever since I did these daily ranges. Could be because I made 2 bullish thumbnails the other 2 days, but I'm going to be honest with you guys and tell you what I think. But yeah, so seasonality wise, you just want to use it as like a little confidence boost, in my opinion. If I see triple divergence and I know seasonality is going to be better at the end in November and December, then I'd say, okay, that gives me a little more confidence. And now I see the trigger. Now I see positive territory. We're going to see a big move here. That's kind of how I think about it. I would never just take a trade based on seasonality alone. Amazon just went negative. So we did see that fade down right where we're expecting. AMD now down almost 3%, down to 176, about 176.50. And what is Nvda doing? 789. 789 on Nvda. Seeing that drop down. We'll have to see what happens at the gap. See what happens there. Aw, Frankie, your top chat went away. I really liked seeing that little yellow thing. Gosh, really appreciate it. That was the first, well, I get donations on PayPal, like maybe like once a month, little $5 here, $5 there. Really appreciate that, guys. I mean, even it just tells me, hey, this is valuable enough that I'm willing to give this guy $5, and that it's like, hey, that's some of the best coffee I ever had. When you guys send me $5 and I get a coffee, I'm like, damn, these people are fueling my chart analysis. So thank you so much for that. Aapl, at this point, though, not confirming the move higher. I just told you guys I got out of my Aapl trade right up here, made my 10%, and said, F that. And Dr. Monkfish, if you do take I don't know how extensive you are into stocks. I'm not saying you don't know what you're doing, anything like that. Don't get that vibe. I'm just saying when people take the course, I really encourage them to talk to me, to email me, do those kinds of things. It just really, it makes me know, like, okay, they have questions about this exact subject, and it kind of helps out. Toby, old man, quiet. Ari's up there cooking with mama. Oh my gosh, he's got knots. We need to shave this dude or something. Here, come here, you want to say hi? I'll let Alan say hi. This is Alan, the boy. He always tries to get me to invest in Petco. Ugh. All right, get down. Boy. What a good dog. You know how many people told me, like, asked me if my dog was the Shiba, or the Doge? No. Was it Doge or was it Shiba? They always ask if he's a Shiba Inu. I'm like, he is 80 pounds. He is not a Shiba Inu. Shiba Inus are like 20 pounds, I think. Oh, sorry, I left it on Apple for a little bit. Let's go back to Nvidia, really watch this on a shorter time frame. This is not too dramatic of selling. It is looking like some taking of profit. See if we can get some kind of buying up in here, or even dip down to lower levels. It would make sense to dip down to lower levels, maybe even get some support outside of our daily range around 750 before we want to head higher. Important part is Nvidia on a 15-minute still positive. Okay, still positive. Very hard to call a top on something that is just going absolutely parabolic. But good thing is we had a place to pay attention to, and it was that 820 to 830. Good stuff, guys. Did you make yourself some breakfast? Did Ari help? I would have helped you. Good. There you go. Mama's got to have breakfast, you know? What about you guys? Any plays you are making as of today based on this price action, seeing that fade with Nvidia like we were talking about? Let me see if Bloomberg's saying anything good right now. We're talking about for a minute. Understanding the power behind U.S. sanctions. I don't. I am not. Loads. They're just talking about Ukraine amid foreign fight and foreign aid fight, Ukraine stuff. So you don't really need to pay attention to that. Back to you guys now. What do you think of Uniswap hop on 60% in 40 minutes? I do not like surging plays. I like to see structure. If I see something surge, I say to myself, I don't care how high it is. I didn't catch the big move already. I don't know how high it could go. I don't know when it would stop. It could stop right now. It could stop in 3 weeks. It's too up in the air. If something is unknown and I can't tell any profit, boys, calm down. Bruce, he doesn't like to play with you. Bruce and Alan fighting. So yeah, if I have no way to find probabilities of something, then I am not going to trade it. So I am not going to roll the dice. I would rather roll a loaded dice, roll a fixed dice, at least a little bit. That way I have a better chance of winning. Give myself that 60-40 edge at least. Buying puts a few weeks out. Think we start a pretty decent correction any day now. Dave G, likely see 4,800 some point in March. That is not a bad assessment, I would say. It definitely makes sense. We are very overextended. We now have a daily divergence again here. So SPY's fallen a bit. We kind of expected this on this channel. We expected it based on our video last night. We even kind of set a good area to pay attention to Nvidia, and Nvidia started to fall from that level. We're outside of the Bollinger Band. if this is some kind of trap and we get that rapid selling, the overall thing is when you look at this Bollinger Band on the daily, you don't know what your upside is, right? Because you would even say maybe it's 0 downside all the way down here at 483. So your 4,800 call on the SPX is going to be right down towards this area. Definitely possible we're outside of that range. So even by the end of this month, we could see some selling come in to get back down into this monthly range, which is that yellow line. I have Nvidia 750 short calls, expiration in June. Would recommend. So you have shorts. In June. Damn, expiry in June. That's, I mean, that's a good amount of time. Honestly, that is a good amount of time. I mean, you can at least see how this divergence plays out and go from there. That's what I would say. You have a divergence here. You can see how that plays out. You're towards the unknown again. So this has been parabolic. So if it wants to, it could extend really high, but same thing as we were talking about earlier, risk to reward. You don't know, or you could even give a value of 0 up here because we weren't necessarily tight on those Bollinger Bands. Here's the thing, when you're tight on the Bollinger Bands and you're hitting the top side with a strong bar, right? We're tight on the Bollinger Band, okay? Now we get that explosive move. That can continue because it's going to spread these out. But the fact that they're already spread out could mean something a little different. You don't necessarily have that happening here. Are these Bollinger Bands really going to spread out wider? Is this really going to go like that and this go like that? It's very doubtful. It doesn't happen very often. So you could say your risk to reward is 0 to unknown versus coming all the way down to about 600, right in this level here. Just something to think about. Taking a small gamble with CRM earnings. Feel like take a big dump post earnings. Well, you know me with earnings. I know that I say it all the time. Salesforce here. Not the worst idea in the world. Once again, though, you see how these Bollinger Bands are a little tighter. That's at least enough to say, hey, this could spread out. When is that earnings, by the way? Wednesday. So next Wednesday after hours. You can get a lot of things to happen before that. I would say if you make a good amount of money before the earnings, man, just chill out around the earnings. I mean, like I've said it a million times now, I've been hurt by earnings before trying to trade around them using divergences. It just doesn't matter. It's a 50-50 flip on the day of. Now, before the event, you can say, there's divergence up here and I want to play the downside, play the bottom of the range, sell somewhere around 280. Like that would make sense to me. But once the day actually comes, you're 50-50 flipping it. This could show you divergence down here, and then they report bad earnings and it drops off like a rock off a cliff. Now, and then you could have, we could see this dip down and buy back up before, and then you have a double top, and that still surges higher because they have very good earnings. So if it has very good earnings, sometimes there is a buy the rumor, sell the news. So buying the rumor being people still buy into if they buy before, and then they buy into the news. But then you hit a value where people hit the sell button, like a 300, like a 310, some of those flat numbers. That's where those weekly ranges really help too. VIX is not moving up, which is actually a sign that people are still buying calls at this point. We did not get this to confirm. People are buying calls. If the selling continues, we can go the other way, because if the price keeps dropping and people buy calls, they will get pushed out of their position. We're still tight in here. I would even make a slight thing here, but bullishness would not be surprising. We have a gap down here. We could see more bullishness come in. This is a very bullish move. We're just in an area where it's time to be, hey, maybe take the foot off the gas just a tiny bit. 15-minute, still not rapid selling. This is not a selling pattern that worries me by any means. Looks like just a slight tapering off, slight fading, but that could just fade down into the gap fill. See that turn around. So really on the 15, you want this to turn back around. You'd almost want a deeper pullback, honestly. Get this a little bit lower. That way you have some room up here, because right now, really close to overbought. Q's going negative again. This is what we were talking about this morning. This zone right in here, this zone right here, we talked about it in the video too. We could get up. We actually talked about it too. I think we said it before Nvidia earnings. We could come all the way up into this weekly move if Nvidia has good earnings, because Nvidia is 1/3. It's like 1/3 of the contribution to the NASDAQ revenue. So it is a big, big thing to watch. Tesla, yep, we got to keep our eye on Tesla. 30-minute, good sign here. Okay, you need to hold up here. You really have to hold up. You did cross on this MACD. What were we saying? Hey, do not want that to get into negative. If this breaks through here, it's going to go negative. You have a good shot to test this low. If you don't hold up there, it's not looking pretty. This could just be some kind of flagging at this point. So if you want this to go higher, you really want this to start to base out, maybe complete all the way up to here pretty quick, start to head a little bit higher. This is just gap resistance pretty much. So you have all this area in here that is a gap. You're going to see resistance up in this area. If it was nice to you, it would have gapped above here, used it as support, and just kept going. So if this still wanted to be bullish, breaking through here, look for that head and shoulders to possibly set up, get back within this channel here, get back within this flagging here. That would be a good way to go up from here. Thank you guys. 45 people in here today. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. Smash that like button for me. We are bouncing around a lot today. There is a lot to keep track of. The Q is actually almost down 0.1 at this point. So we got to pay attention. It's just about to roll over on its 30-minute. It hasn't even rolled over on the 30-minute. Now, if a lot of people start hitting that sell button, we can see one of those more dramatic times. 32% of the time, we can see something dramatic outside of this daily range right here. But 68% chance we do land back within this zone. So if this wants to pull back all day and then curl back up in positive territory, we could see more positivity going. All right. Yeah, and there's a lot of these highs, and overall on this channel, I think it was about a month ago, we were just stating this all-time high narrative is exactly what they want before something bad happens. They want the euphoria. Nvidia's giving the euphoria right now. And I'm just pointing out signals. Time to be a little bit cautious, because even though Nvidia was good, we were bullish for a few days there. It just came up into a spot where something bad could happen. We're seeing a lot of stocks show us things like, I'm really liking Meta right now. This 2-hour triple divergence. RSI getting pretty low here. So could cross that center line. Also could just break below this base, cut through this like butter. We'll check back in after next time. Market going to pull back. Now we are pulling back as of right now, yes, but we're starting to hit areas where we could hold up, like AMD at that 174.50. And good luck with your client, by the way. Good luck. I wish you all the best. Apple needing to hold up right here pretty much. You don't want that to curl over. I would say the 30 minutes curling over. Just don't want that to get into negative territory. You could see some kind of head and shoulders, but this could overall be a cup within a cup, right? We could get a cup here, get a handle, finish this cup up towards the gap resistance, get another handle, and then see that surge. But if I see it slowly lagging behind and Apple's not participating, when I'm seeing a ton of bullishness, Q's up 3% yesterday, Apple only up 1%. Really was expecting positivity today, so I am out of my trade. Amazon, another one you want to pay attention to. 2-hour divergence right by negative territory. Okay, we talked about this too early on in the day. Your weekly expected move is right here. Guess what? We hit that weekly expected move and we sell off. So we get just above it. We get that wicking, which actually happened to match about this high. So it was just, this was a good move. You really wanted to be in around this bar right here for Amazon, because that's when you got a little signal, hey, this could go up. If you're a swing trader, you know what I'm talking about. Boom, you get that explosive move. You see this explosion in one day. you might want to think about taking profit, especially towards that weekly expected move. Video about to go negative. 786, still not too worried about Nvidia. Now, this is good selling pattern. Okay, so this is a very good selling algorithmic angle here. About to cross on this MACD. Still open. We are still very open because we never fully retested these levels, right? So we got some good sideways action here. Still open to some kind of reaction from this 750 level, around that 750 level. See if that is able to turn back around, because we don't necessarily have news right now that I know of, unless you guys are seeing something related to chips and AI. Don't really see any news. This could just be profit taking because that's what the options market have priced in for the week. Someone said in my chat, like, Nvidia's going to hit a 2 trillion market cap. And I was like, it's possible, but we got to see those earnings. And then sure enough, we hit it. Like 2 days later, he called it. But yeah, Nvidia about to go negative. It's just how much will that freak people out? Will that scare people into selling more, or will that be like people saying, oh, finally I can get into this move? That's overall what I'm thinking. But at least one of the two scenarios to the upside we talked about is playing out as of right now. We're seeing that fading right around that 820 to 830 range. Tesla down 1.2. SPY, Q's negative. Q's negative, rolled over on the MACD. Still could base out around this 430, 430. So pay attention to that. And thank you guys so much for joining. 49 of you in here this morning. Good morning to everyone. Hopefully you've had your coffee. This is my second one. One big one I'm paying. Ooh, Meta just flipped negative. Okay, so Meta flipped negative. We're paying attention to this 2-hour divergence here. We're seeing a very bullish time, very bullish sentiment, very bullish narratives all around. But we see these signals, right? We have to take it with a grain of salt. Yes, this is a strong move. We talked about the bullish setups before Nvidia earnings. Now we have to move like water. We're seeing bearish setups now. We have to pay attention to it. Hi, Wordy. Welcome back. Nvidia going pretty negative, actually. You called it, Dave G. There it goes. It goes negative. 15-minute. Still good selling. I like my 30. I'm going to leave it on a 30 for now. I know it's not the most enticing to watch, but this is just how I like to do things. Sometimes at the end of the day, I'll turn on a 5-minute for fun just to see the craziness, because you know we have that 10-minute rigged at the end. But oh, who told me to check out Ron Walker? Was someone in here that told me to check out Ron Walker? Or does anyone know who I'm talking about? I think he's the what is it? The charting prodigy. Who told me to check him out? Someone in my chat suggested him to me, and I watched his video. Yeah, I watched his video. Be honest. Do we sound similar? Like, not voice-wise. I mean, like, the things he talks about is like, I was like, yeah, I like this. I agree with him. Like, he pulls up a little bit more macro most of the time, or like medium macro, daily, weekly, daily. Sometimes it looks like he pops in an hourly, but I was like, he's simple. He keeps it simple. I like that. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep it very simple. That's what I've always done. But I don't mind him. I think it's good. Video's kind of long, though. Anyone agree? Video's a little bit long, but other than that, it's like market going down so good. We'll have to click in because we are going negative on Nvidia pretty good here. 0.5. Be worried if we go below. Yeah, he's obsessed with this stuff. Yeah, he's pretty. Sometimes I'm repetitive too. I get it. We can be repetitive on here because we're trying to get a point across. But his was like, I think it was like 45 minutes. I was like, damn, I feel bad if I make mine over 20 minutes and he's doing 45. He's the biggest bear in the market. Been calling for a catastrophic fall since I've known about him. He's a funny one. And maybe because I don't I guess I don't know how he trades. I don't necessarily trade like him. I don't know how he trades, but from what I saw, he's overall pointing out times of bearishness, but times where we could flip the script. But he kind of has a tone of like, this is it. It's gonna happen right now. This is the moment. And then he says, but we could go, we could test the high first. Like he really makes you feel bearish. He did call the recent run 2 all-time highs. That's awesome. That's awesome. I might not have seen back then. We mainly just paid attention to a lot of those signals too. Technically, we called the bounce. I did not say all-time high. But then once we got to that area, all-time high was going to be the bait, in my opinion. But Dave G, yeah, he called that, I assume. That's good. I just get worn out. Yeah, it's just it's a little long. That's all I would say. He's the biggest bear. I want to read this again. I didn't hear him talking about it. Well, he did say a few times like rug pull and things like that. I watched. Which is fine to say because we're at levels where a rug pull could happen. But from what I was hearing, he mainly was saying bear market. Times they hit. Good. I'm glad you guys like him. Anyone you guys like, I might I subscribe to him just to give a good thought. I did like this. Okay, so the video I watched. So I put out my video and then he popped up, right? I subscribed to him when you guys told me about him, and he popped up and I saw his title. And in my video yesterday, I said, and we went over this live. I showed you guys it live. The fact that Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg are selling a ton of their stock. These CEOs of these big companies, they're selling their stock. I remember saying that in my video last night. And I said he sold over, and we went over this live, $8 billion worth of Amazon over the last week. And then I looked at his title, his thumbnail, and it was, if this is so bullish or something like that, why is Jeff Bezos selling $8.5 billion worth of Amazon? And I was like, holy shit. And then I watched this video and I was like, hey, we talk about a lot of the same things. I just do it on different time frames. He talks about positive, negative of the MACDs and things like that. He's got a few other indicators too, I noticed, that I don't necessarily use. I think I've heard of them. But I just thought that was funny that we were talking about the same thing. Nvda come back to 800 today. Hard to say. You really want to see if the 15-minute is able to roll up. FX Evolution, another pretty good channel. Yes, I've watched FX for a while. I actually really like it. I like his some of his stock analysis. He's more of a horizontal, at least from what I understood by watching him for a while. He seems like a more horizontal support resistance kind of guy. But I do like his in-depth. So when he goes into, I think I got Max Payne from him. I started to look at Max Payne like a year ago because I saw he was using it around certain times. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. You have to take Max Payne with a grain of salt, but it does give you areas to pay attention to, like this 800. So it gave us this for this week. So that was pretty cool. I got from him. His in-depth before he goes into charts is really what I like. I like where he finds support and resistance, but overall, before he gets to that, I like that part where he kind of goes over smart money, dumb money. He goes over Max Payne. He goes over things like that. I enjoy his videos. Also, he's like, isn't he Australian or something? Yeah, he's Australian or something. I like his voice too. He's cool. Seems like a good dude, just trying to help out, help educate, and make good videos, good quality stuff. So I can't disagree with the guy's analysis. I'll put it that way. He's very good at talking about yields too. Like his yield stuff when he starts to go in depth with it is pretty dang good. You'll see Nvda 750 today. I think we could, but the thing about 750 is that's where your calls are still at, so you could see that get a little bounce from there. If people got greedy and kept these calls all the way up here, you can see some kind of bouncing from there. Maybe these people start to get in one more time. Is that a dead cat for a lower high? We'd have to see. Right now, you just say, hey, this is a pretty strong move. If the 15-minute curls back up in positive territory, we could at least see some of that positivity come back in, maybe back up to that 800. But right now, you just have to say this is a pretty 30 minutes good for this. This is a pretty good selling pattern here. You'd like it to almost be a little more vertical for it to be considered a sell-off. This looks like just some profit taking on a stock that just went up by, 500% in the last year or something like that. Year and a half. AMD is at the level, by the way. I was paying attention on the right here. AMD at the level we need to hold up at. Look at that, 174.70. 174.77. We said 174.50 is really where this thing probably wants to hold up, unless it gets some gap support here. Down here, this would be my next line here, so about 173. Aapl curling over on the 30-minute. Check an hourly here. If that hourly curls over, you're going to go into negative territory, so you really need it to hold up soon. I'm scared for Aapl because we could be getting something like this. Just an easy little way to break down. Let's go look at Tesla. First, I'm going to look at Amazon. It's up here. Let's check that 2-hour. No crossing yet. This could take all the way into Monday for that crossing. But we do have a slight... I would really call this divergence. That is enough of a difference there that this is most likely... And at least you have a divergence between this level here to there, so you do have a triple divergence across the way here, and you do see that on the RSI at the same time. Not a good sign for momentum in Amazon. Not saying it has to crash. I'm just saying the momentum has died out, so be open to lower prices. Tesla, something we're really paying attention to. 2-hour going negative. If that 2-hour goes into negative territory, be a little freaked out. This is actually, to the bear side. This seems like some good support. This seems like some good support. We know that 190.10 is good support. So the fact that we're consolidating, near it or at the end here of our flag, if you will, if we see this consolidate and build up some liquidity right here with all this, we can see a drop. If you want this to go up again, you really want this to come back to this level, probably break through, maybe retest and then break through these highs over here. Nvidia going down to 777, AMD 174.60 something. It's holding on, guys. 174.55 is what I saw. Damn. That's crazy. Let's check on Meta. Meta's starting to see that selling really come in. This is a 30-minute. I can't see the damn thing. Flatness of the MACD, divergence on the RSI. You do have potential here for this to come down and test this. It's kind of in like a slanted channel here. So maybe down here towards 465. If that wants to break down, look for that gap fill. Netflix. I think Netflix was a one on the daily I was looking at. Yeah, there it is. There's a slight divergence here. So we're getting really bullish right now. We almost hit my price target, 620. But we do have that divergence showing up. Major double tap on IXIC. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of signals across the board that are saying momentum is fading. Now, the problem with Netflix here is look how tight these Bollinger Bands got. You're inviting the opportunity to spread them out one way or the other, and right now with this divergence, the probabilities are adding up at least for some kind of pullback. If it breaks through this kind of level here, we might be spreading out those Bollinger Bands coming down to fill that gap. Bitcoin now down 1.13%. It was pretty flat when we looked at it. The VIX, let's see if we're getting any kind of move in the VIX. This 30-minute here, still confirmed, did not roll the other way. Actually looked like it was going to rejected the crossing to the downside. So you need this to get back into a positive trend on the 30-minute, back into a positive trend, and then we want this 2 hour to cross. All right, but we pretty much just did the overall analysis of what we're paying attention to on this channel. So we already saw it. SPY just flipped negative. We're seeing that resistance towards this daily expected move outside the weekly. See if that's able to come back in. Option market makers would love for us to end somewhere near this 505, 504. Right, yeah, just above probably 505 would be where they really want us to land. Qs, similar story, came outside of that weekly, getting rejected back down, didn't make it to the daily. Now we have 2 hour divergence ready for us right next to negative territory, so we're inviting that momentum to die out with some bad news. We might head a little bit lower. IWM, we didn't necessarily cover this, but next to positive territory, a lot of flagging in here, so we could see a dramatic drop if that wants to happen, but we're still in positive trends. Aapl, 30-minute, breaking down, making sure this can't get into negative territory. You really don't want this to continue this negative trend here. If you start to lose these levels, Aapl could be in for a rude awakening. Amazon, pay attention to that 2 hour. You got a triple divergence on the 2 hour, so you can really see that daily flip over. This daily here, about to cross up, you can see that reject. That's what I meant to say. You can see that reject. Remember I said today, if we actually see that crossing, we can get a little more positivity into next week. Not crossing as of now. Tesla, we got that cross, still in negative territory on the daily, paying attention to a 30-minute, paying attention to an hourly on this one, because we are right by negative territory here. Looks like we're starting to consolidate, see if that actually breaks us down. Really, if you're bullish on this, you want some kind of reaction up from here. Some kind of cup within a cup. Maybe this is the big cup and this is just the bigger handle, and then we can head up from there. But if this starts to break below here, look at that hourly because it might not look very pretty. Nvda starting to hold up at our first level of liquidity here. So really, I would be paying attention to 15-minute in the shorter time frames, but overall, 2 hour here, watch if this divergence actually does confirm. And then you want to watch the daily here. We actually did get a green bar as of today, so if we start to sell off into next week, might not be the best sign. Risk to the reward to the upside, not very high, kind of limited or even unknown. If you're planning on hoping this goes parabolic again, it already has. The risk to the downside, about 600 down in this little pocket of liquidity here. AMD now down at 175. That is something to be a little bit worried about, but overall, look for it to break below 174.50. If it breaks below 174.50, look for right around 173 for that gap support. You could get that gap support right in here, and then you could see that turnaround. Watch the MACD, see if it's able to up. This is not a great sign for AMD, not able to break above this high, actually making a slightly lower high and breaking down. So be a little careful with that one. Last one that we talked about, Meta. I'll just bring up Meta. Look at this 2 hour divergence again. Just going to show it to you one more time. Potential here for a turn going into a negative trend. Still positive though, right? We need that bad news or we need the negative trend to really begin. I would say I'd be more confident with a negative trend if we're able to take out some of these lows here. S&P 500 is turning red, yes. Just went green actually, just went green again. So yeah, lot to pay attention to. VIX not necessarily popping. The dollar making some kind of positive move here. We were overall talking about this in the video. The fact that we are at higher levels on a lot of stocks. We see that Jeff Bezos is selling $8 billion worth of stock. Well, then who is the one holding cash? Who is the one sitting cash heavy? Well, it would be the smart money. It would be the insiders and things like that, and maybe the dumb money is just FOMO'd into this move at this point. So something to pay attention to. If we hold up at this level above the 200, you're inviting to go up towards this 105.65 pretty quick. So a lot of stuff to pay attention to. Good stuff. Seeing a reaction in TLT. Yields actually coming down. Interesting. We're seeing yields come down and the market's starting to fade. But we're at levels where we can really see that fading come in. Really appreciate you guys joining me this morning. I really, really do. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for liking. We even got, you know, thank you so much. God dang it. So forgot your name. Frankie, that's what it was. Thank you so much, Frankie. I really am appreciative that you enjoy, you know, what I'm doing so much and you find it useful enough that you wanted to donate $19.99 today. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much to anyone who's donated part of my Patreon, or if you just watch and you are liking all the time. Really, really, really appreciate it. I'm going to go spend some time with my baby and maybe do some trading for a little while. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to have a good weekend, and I'll send out you a little video for Saturday, and then Sunday we'll give you those risk ranges for the week. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a great, great day. And Sir Valenzuela, Mr. Valenzuela, Mrs. Valenzuela, first time checking in. Thanks for the help, brother. Enjoy your day. You enjoy your day as well. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.